Thank you very much, Kika, and thank you to the members of the press. I want to thank you for coming here today. It's such lovely weather outside, so I know it's an effort always to miss it, but it's not an effort when you talk about an event, a cinematographic event like Boyhood. I was telling Kathleen that ever since I saw it in Berlin, it really caught my eye and caught me by the gut and never left me. Until this moment, it hasn't left me. I remember even when I ran out of the theater, I spoke to our good friends of Universal and Warner just to request the film because we really love it and we knew it was the perfect film to close Los Cabos Film Festival 3rd edition. It's such a privilege and an honor, and I want to thank you, three of you, for trusting us. It's a fantastic that we're going to have the Latin American premiere of Boyhood at the festival. Thank you very much. So, first of all, Kathleen, I mean, everyone has seen the film already, and we know what an amazing accomplishment in so many cinematographic levels, not just the acting, the storytelling, the whole experiment. How did you get attached to the project? How did Richard put together the thing? Was it too much before the start of shooting? Has he been working on this? It seems like such a long-distance project in a way.
The project itself is, obviously it was extremely long distance. I mean, it was a marathon, not a race. But as far as, Rick had been thinking about it for a while of wanting to be able to tell the story of childhood and how do you do that in 1 2-hour movie and what point do you pick. So, he had this process in his mind for a while and then it suddenly clicked that, what if we just, why don't you just shoot it over time, like nobody's ever done that. So he had this crazy idea, and IFC came on board and gave us our $200,000 US a year that we got, which so low budget, and it was everything was really done with people just wanting to come on board and make that commitment. Eller was actually the only person who had a contract to, make sure that he was going to be there. No, I mean, not in the beginning. No, I mean, everybody was there, and his contract lasted 7 years because that's all in the States that you can legally contract somebody for, and then we had to renew it for the rest of the time. But it was coming on board as, I came into the project in the 2nd year of it, and never looked back. I mean, it was just such an exciting thing to be a part of because it was a great working environment. We weren't trying to make this huge masterpiece. We had $200,000. I mean, we had to make decisions and do things accordingly, and so it was low budget independent filmmaking in Austin, Texas, where not a lot of people knew what we were doing. So kind of didn't have a lot of attention on it. So that was great. Being able to just make the film and do the craft and do the work and come back again and do it again next year.
It's fantastic. It's amazing. Eller, I mean, it sounds like a joke, but we know you since you were a kid, right? It's how do you commit to a project like this one, right? Like not many actors have the opportunity or the chance to say, like, okay, I'm going to commit the next 8 years of my life to a project. I'm sure you did many other things between those years. But it's a real commitment as an actor. When you start, I'm sure you don't know where your career is going to take you. Tell us a little bit about the experience, please.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of 12 years is a pretty abstract one when you're 7 or 6, I guess, when I was cast. So it's strange. I mean, the decision was, definitely my decision, but also, a commitment on my parents' part as well for the first, 17 years they had to be on set with me, and they were a part of the family as well. So I don't know, it's a bizarre commitment, but it's I'm glad I made it. And yeah, I mean, the way, like I said, it was abstract when you're a kid. You don't understand how long 12 years is, and you don't understand how experiences affect you, and how much you change over time, and how big of a part of your life something is going to be. So that kind of unraveled itself as we went along, and kind of my feelings about it change all the time. But it was an exploration more than anything, I think, of growing up, and an outlet to explore life.
But even in terms of acting, not just for you but for Lorelai, it must have been a very interesting experience, because I suppose your approach to the craft of acting, to the act of acting, must have changed year after year, right? I'm sure Lorelai, would you want to comment on this a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think when we were young, it was kind of it was fun. It was a ride. It was a game. You got to go and pretend. Every kid likes to pretend, and I did a lot of theater when I was young, so it was it was fun. But I mean, I was engaged I was very engaged and intentional, but still, you don't exactly have the same awareness of what you're doing. And as we got older, and the characters required more as they grew up and had opinions and deeper personalities. I was also growing up and had more to offer and more of myself to put into the film, and also became more intentional and more invested and more interested in technique and the craft of acting. It just happened naturally by being around people like Patricia and these things. They didn't teach us directly necessarily, but we learned via experience.
Lorelai, what about you? You live it from two perspectives, actually, being the daughter of Richard Linklater. I'm sure you had a very unique experience approaching this film.
Very much so. To address what you said about the approach to the craft, I'd say my initial approach was to be hyperbolic with my performance, to ham it up as much as possible. And then later on, I guess I tried to be as subtle as I could with it, make it seem just so real that it wasn't acting. So I guess that's kind of how I approached the acting. But yeah, it was a very unique experience. I mean, he's always been a good acting coach as well as yeah.
What about the experience for the three of you, especially for the actors' experience in Berlin and winning with Richard that amazing award, Best Director? I mean, so many actors try for so many years to get into a competition like Berlinale, and you guys get there and seeing that stage. I mean, I was there in that theater when it was premiered. It's such a special experience, even being a member of the audience. I suppose it was something also very emotional for you guys.
Very emotional.
It was, I mean, Berlin was beautiful. It's a beautiful town, and it was amazing to be there and seeing, I mean, I was sitting next to Rick and hearing his name called out for the Silver Bear for Best Director it was so fulfilling personally, to get to see him, be at that point again. I mean, it's not his first Silver Bear, but it was still really special to me.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I watched it alone before Sundance, and but to see it with an audience and to have it, just to feel the energy in the room, it's a very different experience to watch it with that many people than it is to watch it alone. I don't know. It was surprising and incredible, and just that it's almost universally that people connect with it and get it, and feel the way that we felt making it.
In 12 years of filming, you've been involved even more than that with the project. What is, for the three of you, the most unique experience you can remember? Like, I'm sure it's hard to pick from 12 years, but it makes it even more powerful, I guess, for that memory. What is it for each one of you?
And maybe it's silly, but the thing that really comes to my mind is the last moment out there, you know, in I guess I don't give you spoilers, but
They've seen it, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
out in the desert at the end, that was a really special moment, you know, for me and for all of us, I think. It was just, I think, what Mason's experiencing is in a lot of ways what we were all experiencing, you know, kind of this just coming to the end of what had become a massive part of our lives, and you know, realizing that it was over and that it had gone by, and you know, kind of striving to appreciate that.
It's hard to say. There were a lot of moments. I'd say the most sublime of all the moments that comes to my mind right now is when we were filming the bowling scene in the second year, and Ethan had to catch a plane later that day, so we were very rushed for time. My character was supposed to bowl a strike, so there was a lot of pressure. They were trying to figure out ways to fake it, and then I did actually bowl a strike.
Oh, wow.
And so he won the second try, and he made his plane, and everything was good. So that was that was funny. But a lot of other moments too.
I don't know. I mean, for me personally, I was raising my daughter while working on the film, and so as a single mom, and she left and went off to college right when the film was finishing up, around the same time that, I don't know why I'm going to get emotional, because I love my daughter. Right when Mason's character, you know, right when Mason was leaving and going off to college, and so it was this, you know, art and reality kind of colliding in my world, and when the film came out and getting to watch it and to see that, to see it on screen, it took me a while to really appreciate that moment of what Patricia's character was going through, and Mason leaving, and the song comes up, and what the song was trying to say, what he was trying to say, and where he was going to go. I mean, you know, as a mom, when your only child goes off and leaves, you know, it's really meaningful. So as much as the film was, you know, work and a project for me, there was a real personal tie to it, and even now I can't hear that hero song without, you know, getting a little emotional.
I feel like that, you know. It's interesting that you mention all that, the three of you, because it feels like a very familiar movie. You know, it's so universal. It's easy to connect. I know it talks about a different culture than ours, but still it connects with me. Like if I experienced so many moments like Mason in my life, and every person I know, they mention the same thing. I truly believe that's what makes it such a unique piece, that feels the love that was among the actors and was in the story and everything. And it comes with no surprise that there's so much buzz about nominations and everything. And I'm sure you're gonna say that it would be just an honor to just get a nomination, but you know the reality of that, things that are happening. Richard, I mean, everyone's talking about this film. The critics have been just amazing about it. I think no other film in many years I remember has had the percentages and records of these reviews. How do you feel about that? Do you feel nervous? You guys feel nervous about what's going to happen next spring?
I don't really think it's nervousness. For us, I don't know. I think that, as you said, it's an honor. It's an honor to just be thought of, to have people talking about it. I mean, that alone is an honor to me. And you know, whatever happens, the best thing that we did was we made a film that people come up and constantly say, I love that movie. I just, you know, and then that's my life, or, you know, that, you know, they feel so connected to it. And to be able to have been a part of something that you can then give to other people, you know, that's the best thing. As far as awards go, I mean, I don't know what to say.
It's going to be a busy season, that's for sure. And Ellen, I read a piece in Variety saying that there's buzz about a nomination for you as well. Yeah, there is.
I've heard that. It's, I don't know, that's crazy. It's difficult to wrap my head around, but it's awesome. It's really awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, I thank you again. I think we should open now the floor to the members of the press if they have some questions. But I thank you again. It's an honor to close this festival with Boyhood. It matches perfectly with the spirit of the festival, and I hope you return. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us. It's really an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Hicimos la sesión de preguntas y respuestas. ¿Alguien quiere hacer alguna pregunta?
Hola, Omar Reyes de Televisa. Guys,
¿En inglés?
yeah.
Perfecto.
Guys, at some moment in this project, have you feel that you're losing some intimacy of your life? The second question is for Lori. How related are you feel to Mexico? I know you was born in San Miguel, and how related or familiar do you feel with this country?
I really love this country. It'll always have a special place in my heart. I love San Miguel and hope to move back there one day, for sure.
Yeah, there is a certain, there was a certain kind of fear of that, of, you know, releasing something so intimate to the world. But I don't really feel that way anymore. You know, upon releasing it and sharing it with people, it didn't feel like a violation of my privacy. You know, there is a lot of me, a lot of all of us in the film. But, you know, I think most of the points that we relate to the film on are the way that everyone does. You know, these kind of universal things that, you know, came from things that we were experiencing, but they're also things that everyone experiences, or most people do. And the way that people, express their appreciation is very warm and genuine and intimate. You know, so they reciprocate that. You know, we did. It is vulnerable in a certain way, but the way that people, talk to us about it is also vulnerable. So that makes it easier.
Thanks.
¿Alguien más?
Hi again. I guess there is a lot of candid camera behind the scenes of the film. Which of them do you say, this has to be in the Blu-ray extras? I want the people seated. Which moments?
There's really, you mean like things like extra film, the extra scenes? There's really not much. So
no, behind the scenes. Behind.
Okay, the scene when Mason and Mason Sr. are camping, there's a lot of footage, I think, of me and Ethan kind of just geeking out about Star Wars, so I hope that's on the DVD.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Welcome to Los Cabos, and thank you for your time. And could you please go in the center to have a picture, please?
Can I just say, I want to say hi. I don't know if anybody will ever see this, but my aunt and uncle live in Monclova, and my cousins, so hi.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.